Good morning everyone. This is Dr. Shivani Agarwal. Today I am here for presenting the topic of requirement engineering. This is the unit second topic of the software engineering. It's a very important topic for the IK2's curriculum. So let's start. So basically, what is requirement engineering? What are the requirements? Basically, the requirements completely emphasize of what? It does not describe that how we have to collect. So requirements means we have a defined requirements that is defined by the user or the system that you want to implement. So these requirements are the one page large document written in the very natural language. It contains the description of what the system will do. It does not emphasize that how it will done. So this is the basic thing of the requirement engineering. So we have to emphasize what we want, what the user want actually. So when we have to collect the requirements, we completely emphasize the illustration techniques of the requirement engineering. So without defining the well document, we can't say that the requirement of the users are complete. So we have to develop a SRS. This is a software requirement specification report that is defined or that is an agreement between the user and the developer. In this, the user define what the user want and developer check that each and everything that is the user want, that is completely defined or it required some changes. So this is the basic of the requirements. Now, without the well-written document, developers do not know about what to build, because by using the SRS report, the developers identify that what type of thing the user want, and the customer also know about what they expect or the customer expect. So we have to validate each and every requirement that the user demands. So this is the basic of the requirement. Now these are the steps of the requirement engineering. So the first step is the requirement elicitation, second is requirement analysis, third is requirement documentation, and the last is the requirement review. So today I emphasize the requirement elicitation. So in this topic we have to completely define that what is the requirement elicitation, what are the basic techniques of the requirement elicitation. So I already explained that what is requirement engineering. So by defining the problem statement by the user, we make a report on that. So it is prepared as a SRS. This is defined here. This is the SRS. This is the software requirement specification. This is defined in after defining the requirement engineering approach. Between these are the complete steps that we have to follow for completing the SRS report. Now we have to emphasize the requirement engineering phase. So the requirement engineering is a disciplined application of defining principles, methods, tools, and notations to describe a proposed system, intended behavior, and its associated constraint. It means requirement engineering, it's a contract or it's produces a contract between the developer and the customer, that known as the SRS. So we have to state that the requirement engineering means we have to discover all the requirements that is defined by the user, or we have to define the methods, tools that completely emphasize the requirement behavior and its associated constraints. So requirements base, this is a very important thing, that requirements are difficult to uncover, because at the time to time the user changes their requirements. So the behavior changer is the very difficult thing. Tight project schedule, if the user gives the very tight schedule of the project that we have to complete that project in the defined period of time, so this is also a very difficult thing. Communication barriers is if the user and the developer communications are not completely met, so it is the communication barrier. Market driven software development and the lack of resources. So these are the basic things that we have to define at the time of the requirement specifications. Now the second thing is that types of requirements. How many types of requirements we have? Actually these are the basics. So requirements are known, unknown, and the undreamed. Known means we have the customer know about the requirements. So these are the known requirements. Unknown means the customer doesn't know what they want. So these are the unknown requirements, and undreamed requirements, the customer does not think about this is also happen. So these are the undreamed requirements. So the very small thing that that I write here, that is a stakeholder. What is stakeholder? Basically anyone, those are who are directly or indirectly relate with the project, that is a stakeholder. Now the basic types of requirements are two types: functional and non-functional requirements. So what is functional, what is non-functional? Functional means we have to describe what the software has to do, what the working of the software. These are the functional, which are the features that we have to define in the software. These are the functional requirements. What is non-functional? Non-functional means we have to completely focus on the quality requirements, like as usability, availability, reliability, flexibility. These are for the user side, and for the developers requirements are maintainability, portability and the testability. So these are the two basic types of requirements, that is the functional and the non-functional requirements. Now I already explained that what is the requirement illustration. I again define that the requirement illustration, basically it is a practice for discovering the requirements of the system from the user side. If the user doesn't know about the requirements, or doesn't clear about the requirements, so we can't gather the requirements as per the user demand. So the thing is that the customer is very clear about those requirements that we have to gather. So this is the basic step of the requirement elicitation. Now there are the many techniques of the requirement elicitation. First is interview. Interview means we have an open discussion or the structured discussion between the parties. Parties means either developer and the customer. So each and everyone have a common goal for successing the project. Basic goal is success for the project. So for succeeding the project, we have a type of interviews that are the open-ended and the structured interview. Open-ended means the interview, this is very informal interview. This is the open-ended. Structured means we have a formal interview. This is the structured interview. I mean, each and every step, each and every things that we have to define in a very structured way. And a selection of stakeholders. So basically, in this we have to define entry level person. These are the very basic level. So this is the entry level person. Middle level means we have some experience of the developer or the stakeholder. So this is the middle level stakeholders. And the managers, these are the experienced persons. And the users, those are important for developing or collecting the requirements or the gathering of the requirements. So this is the interview technique. Now the second technique is the brainstorming session. Brainstorming means it's a group discussion. It's a type of elicitation technique that we have to think about the ideas or creative thinking, that each and everyone, those are present in the group, each and everyone give their ideas and these persons think in a very creative manner. So this is the brainstorming technique. In this technique, we prepare the list of requirements and find out the categories, that how many requirements and which type of requirements we have to collect it, and each and every requirement prioritize which one is going initial, which one is late. So this is the prioritized requirement. So it means the idea is to generate the view that which type of requirement we want, what type of gathered documentation we required. So these are the basic requirement in the brainstorming technique. Now the pupils that we have to require, users, obviously users are the customers. These are the basic requirement of the brainstorming techniques. And the middle level managers and the total stakeholders. So what are the stakeholders? That those persons that are directly or indirectly related with the project. So these are the stakeholders. Now the third technique is the FAST. FAST is a very important technique that is directly asked in the AQ exam. So this is the facilitated application specification technique. It is very similar to the brainstorming technique, but it is also known as the upgraded version of the brainstorming technique, because it is a completely team oriented approach. In this, we create a team of the developers and the customers, and after that we have defined a facilitator. Facilitator means that can handle the group biasness, that have the power that that resolve the conflict very carefully. So this is the facilitator. So in the basic agenda of the FAST technique, that we have to define a very well documentation in a creative manner, and each and everyone know about that document, and they have a detailed report for this document, and each and everyone open their ideas in the different number of users. So they have to discuss about the problem statement and find out the solutions accordingly. And the facilitator role is completely unbiased and resolve the conflicts of these problems. So it is a teamwork approach for collecting the requirements, and the basic aim of the FAST technique is that it is a bridge between the understanding and the expectation. This is a very important thing. As you want, that is your expectation, but as the implementation of the thing is the understanding. So these are the basic gap between the understanding and the expectation. So this is the basic aim of the FAST technique. Now the basic guidelines of FAST is that meetings are conducted between the developers and the users at a very natural site. So there are no conflict between them, and we have a defined rules for the preparation and the participation between this agenda discussion. And the agenda is that each and everyone complete or cover all the important requirements either in the formal way or define the ideas in the free flow way. And we define a facilitator that main aim to resolve or the issues or to solve the conflicts. The goal of FAST. So the basic goals of FAST are problem identification. So we have find out the problems. We have to find the identification of the problems and solve out the requirements. And each and every requirement or the element we have to propose that we negotiate each and every approach. So we have to find the best possible solution for that. After initial the meeting between the user and the developer, we find out a conclude report that show what we want or what we do. So these are the complete rules we have to discuss in this defined meeting. And each attendee that are present in this meeting to make the following list: the list of object, list of service, list of constraints, and the performance criteria. The representatives of the FAST, there are marketing person, hardware and the software engineers, representative from the manufacturing, and the outside facilitator. I already explained what is facilitator. And if the FAST meeting begins, the following steps are followed. First is that start the discussion on defining the need, what are the requirements and the justification of the product. It is required in the market point of view or not. What are the difference between the market product or the defined product? What are the expectations and the understanding about the product? What are the things created by the group, or we have to redundant some entities defined in the group. So these are the things that we have to define for the FAST. Basically, it is a very validation criteria between the number of users present and what the product we have to prepare. So this is the basic thing that the FAST is used for develop the mini specifications for entries and define the specifications for uncover the new objects and the services. So this is the basic of the FAST. Now the basic guidelines are: arrange a meeting, establish a rules, informal the agendas, appoint a facilitator. These all the things I already covered, but these are the special points. So we have to define in the different colors. So we have to emphasize that the list of constants, functions that we have to produce, the performance criteria that we want, and last in the activities of the FAST session. So every participant present their ideas and each and everyone combine the list for the each topic, discussion between the users or between the team members, and the consensus list that we have to define and the mini specification between the sub-team members, presentations of the mini specifications, validation criteria, and a draft specification. So, this is the complete for the fast. Now, the fourth technique is the quality function deployment. It is a voice of the customer. It is very important technique. This is the voice of the customer. In this, we have to define all the technical requirements, and these requirements we have to document for the customer satisfaction, because customer know about the prime requirements and what the customer want and what we have to discover for the customer. So, this is the very important for the customer. So, QFD totally emphasize with the requirement of the customers. In this, we have to emphasize the normal requirements, expected and the excited requirements. Normal requirements means those requirements those the user want, these are the very normal. Expected, each and every requirement that the customer also doesn't know these, and but the expression of the customer for that. So, these type of requirements are the expected requirements. Exciting means we just provide some offers for the customer. So, these type of requirements are the exciting requirements. Now, the steps for that: identify the stakeholders, which is how many stakeholders we required, what type of requirements the customer want, and what type of the market surveys requirements we have to define that, and the degree of requirement, importance of each requirement. We have to list all the requirements, and then we have to find the importance of each and every requirement. So, this is the QFD. In this QFD, we have to define which requirement is very important and which requirement is the least important. Now, the last technique is the use case approach. This is a approach that we have to define in the graphical view formation. So, this requirement, this illustration technique, use case approach developed by the Avier Joxum and the others. In this, we have to define the functional view of the requirements. There are some members or some graphical notations we have to use for representing the use cases. So, basically the use case are a structured outline or a template for describing the user requirements in a very defined way. So, UML, this is the unified modeling language. A use case diagram can summarize the details of our system, and in this we have to define some basic interaction between the users and the users in the form of the actors, and this diagram represents the goals of the system user interactions, define and organizing the functional requirements, specify the context and the requirements of a system, and modeling the basic flow between the events. So, these are the components that we have to define or use for designing the use case. So, first is actor. Actor means the user that interact with the system. So, actor either a person or an organization or a webmaster or a admin, anyone becomes a actor. So, they must be external objects that produce or consume data. Second is system, a specific sequence of actions and interaction between the actors and the system. So, they may also be referred to a scenario. Goals, the end result of most, that is the use cases. Use cases means we have to define the functions of that particular object, that is the use case. That should describe the activities and the variants used to reach the goal. So, these are the use cases. I already explained. These are the oval shapes and different uses that a user might have. Associations means we have to connect between the users and use cases and the actors. So, this is the associations. System boundary box, a box that a set of scope to use case that would be considered the outside scope of the system. This is the use case, system boundary box. Package, a UML shape that allows different elements into groups. So, these are the packages. This is the diagram for the website. So, in this there are search document. These are the use cases. These are the use cases, and in the use cases, these are the actors. So, there are two actors, site user and the webmaster, and these use cases connected with the search defined use cases by using the include. So, this is the extension version that we have to use as a include or exclude. So upload a document extended, these are the extended between with the manage folders, and include means previous document already include in the browse docs. So these are the include and exclude. One more example for that, this is the railway reservation system. So in this, these are the use cases: check the ticket availability, pay fare amount, book ticket, fill out the personal information of the user, cancel ticket, refund money. These are the actors. Basic thing is that normal users, actors, we have to represent in the left side, and the right side we have to define the admin. So this is the railway website admin, and these are the two actors, clerk and the traveler. And this system boundary between the inner and the outside actors. So this is the use case diagram. Thank you for this. Thank you.